DearRDG. Hey, DearRDG. Hey, hey, DearRDG. Hey, 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 DearRDG. DearRDG.
DearRDG.
DearRDG.
DearRDG.
DearRDG, we never gon' stop, we all gon' win. We going to the top, we all gon' shine. We all gon' pop, we all about to make it cause the grind don't stop. Hey, hey, hey.
And 3, 2, 1. And welcome back to another episode of DearRDG. This is season, we still on season 4? I stopped doing the season.
Yeah,
We're on episode 61. Hey, I wrote it down. Yeah, episode 61. We out here. First things first, DearRDG is back onto our weekly schedule, so we will be dropping every single week once again. So make sure you put us back into your schedules. But also make sure you support the podcast and everything else that goes outside of it as well. So different ways you can support this podcast. You can subscribe and like and share wherever you listen to this podcast. And those are non-monetary ways that you are able to donate. You can also donate to our Patreon, where you can subscribe for as little as $2. And that is a little bit more of a commitment. $2 a month. $2 a month equals $24 a year. So if you can make that little investment, please and thank you. We do understand that we are in the midst of Corona. So if you cannot support, the non-monetary ways are more than welcome. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Talk about it with your peers. Yeah, teach somebody how to use a podcast. There's so many different things to make people buy into it. But if you believe in what we do, please, please, please show your support because it means a lot. Also, make sure you support everybody outside of what they do too. Bree, can you tell them what you do?
So I am a poet, blogger. What else do? I do it all. But my main focus is my blog, pusherbree.com, where I discuss everything and anything. It's pretty much a lifestyle blog. And I guess, what means a lot to me. So you can follow me on social media, Twitter, pusherbree, Instagram, 93 pusherbree. And don't forget to subscribe. My blog.
Yes. You can also support what the other hosts are doing. We're currently missing 2 of our hosts. So D-Will also does, right. D-Will also has music. So if you search under DayQuan Williams, you'll be able to find his music on anywhere, Spotify, SoundCloud, TIDAL. But make sure if you got TIDAL, make sure you support it from there because they get the most money that way. And then also you can follow Marie Sykes. So you can go Sykes is the limit, Sykes Marie on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow her travel tips, all of that fun stuff. And then I am also your host, Marquise Devon, This American Negro, whatever you want to call me. I do a solo podcast called This American Negro, which bridges academia in the hood. I also do a show called The Warm Up. I do a couple things, just, go button on real quick.
What is that you just started? Framework Friday?
Oh, Framework Fridays just debuted on Friday, this past Friday. Thank you. I've been sitting on that idea for a while, for real. Like, just trying to figure out, like, how to give micro content so people don't have to listen all the time to, like, a 40-minute long, like, dissertation type John, but you can get it, like, in a quick burst of, like, different things that I believe in, different philosophies of life and shit like that. So I just want to make that a little bit more accessible for people. Yeah, so that's a little bit about us. So if this is your first time here, welcome to DearRDG. This is a podcast lifestyle where we bring Black culture, local politics, cool highlights, the creative community. We try to highlight them all on our podcast because we do think it's important. I'm trying to make sure we start like doing this so every time we get like new guests and shit, like we're still got like, an opening script.
Like that kind of makes sense, but I mean, if you haven't been following us, what have you been doing? We're the best podcast. Listen,
you should be listening. You should be listening to DearRDG. What are y'all doing? But yeah, no. Other than that, like I'm really excited because this is gonna be. What is this? We're in our 2.5 year of being together.
Yeah, man. Happy anniversary.
I know, anniversaries are coming. I realized our episode debuted July 7th, I think is our official. Like we banded together June 25th. But then
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not one of those girls who know like anniversaries. No, this is when we first went out. Like, nigga, I told you already. I thought it was October. Like, if
look,
you
no.
I was like, oh, okay, but word, you sure it wasn't October?
No, it was not October. It was definitely right after I graduated college.
You're right.
Our first live show was in October. No. It was the following year. What did we do in October?
I don't know.
Remember.
I feel like October was. I don't know because we did the Juneteenth.
Well, this last October was our live show that we had at Barrio. So that's what that was. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So no, Bree, just real quick, like, how was your week? Tell me about your week. You know how we always do this.
Oh, so my week was pretty smooth. I just started implementing because I still go to work, and I just started implementing like wearing a mask because at first I thought it was selfish for me to. There's people out there that really need it, and I follow a lot of nurses and people in the medical field. So I was like, I'm not really a priority. But then I realized when you take care of yourself first, you're helping take care of others.
Right.
I also been furniture, furniture shopping, going back and forth with the people because it's just been really hectic, like having to work and then trying to like order stuff, like the call volume be like crazy. What else have I been doing? I recently have been like watching documentaries and stuff more, and there was one that I really liked. The Tiana. It wasn't. Yeah, I guess you would consider it a documentary. But it was on YouTube, and it was Tiana Taylor. We actually had a conversation about her not too long ago. But the documentary is probably like an hour and a half. If you get time, really watch it because I feel like she doesn't get enough credit for some reason. Like, she gets like spurts, and I feel like we haven't really heard from her since her album. Yeah.
Yeah, because she went into her whole directing bag too, which was really good. Like, she was directing music videos.
Yeah, who knew that? I didn't. Well, you of course, but until I actually sat down and watched it, and it's on YouTube. I didn't know that she was like in her Spike Lee bag. Like, she is collecting all different types of bags and stuff. And yeah, that's what I did. And cook. I mean, I'm gonna get down in the kitchen.
I'd be here for your little vegan meals that you be posting now. I'm like, those really look aesthetically pleasing. Like, I feel like I would eat them.
I hope so. I literally be thinking to myself, like, and that's something that I'm literally trying to do is like slow down. And, part of it is like the plating of my food is just like, this is pleasing. Like, what do they say? You have to try to please your five senses. So something that I've been trying to do is just, enjoy my meals.
I'm here for that.
In every way possible. Thank you.
Right.
What about you?
I've been good I've actually been really good. Yesterday was a weird day. Like, I just feel like I was tired all day. But between all of my jobs, like, everything's starting to like line up a little bit. There are things that could be improved here and there, but I really just had to adjust to being like on this home schedule and like what a work from home schedule looks like. So I was like intentional. So last time when I was talking about it, like, I got a desk set up now. I got a chair. It's so nice. Like, I'm just like, wow. I'm actually starting to like inhabit my room. I finally gave myself a damn bed frame because I've been like not having one.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. So now I feel like I'm finally like sitting into my room. I ordered some art earlier. I got some books coming in. Like, I'm excited. But yeah, no, I definitely just like took this time because now I feel like I'm officially like in the green. I opened up my savings account, so that's really nice. Come on, adulting is coming in. Still did not get the stimulus check, so that's ghetto.
That is ghetto, Marquise.
I don't want that Trump check.
I feel like a lot of Americans. No, my sister, yo, seriously, it's like a lot. It sucks because my sister was like contacting me like for like a month now about it. She has
Mhm.
like limited. She did her tax stuff. She has limited, but it's just I heard something about like school students or if you're full time, you don't get it, or like if your parents claimed you. So you think about it, like you're a grown ass person and your freaking parent claimed you, so they only get $500.
Yep.
And you're kind of stuck because I mean, you work, but it's just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That's just something that I be thinking about. Like, our politics are so trash.
All the time. But hopefully we see a shift after Miss Rona is done putting us on timeout. Um, but yeah, no, let's get into the episode then. So before we bring on our guests, because I definitely want us to get back to our regular format of what we started out with, let's just have a good dedicated stoop conversation. And this is just one because I was watching Insecure last week, and that premiere definitely had people in their feelings.
Sure, I
um,
see a lot of people go off.
Sure did. And there's just one theme of it that I really wanted to tap into a little bit more, and it was that theme of friendship dynamics and what happens when they start to change, like breaking up with a friend, knowing that the end of a friendship is coming. How does that like affect us? And I thought that would be a good conversation for us to have today on the podcast, because I just like tweeted, I was like, all right, who's ever experienced a friend breakup? And when I tell you my mentions were in shambles, people were just like, man, that was harder than a breakup with a significant other, blah, 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 blah. So I guess my first question to you is really like, um, have you ever experienced a friend breakup?
Yes, I have experienced breaking up with one of my friends, but I also was lucky enough that we made up because it was kind of my fault. It was like a small misunderstanding and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it sucks. I was like, oh my God, I don't think she's gonna be my friend ever again. And it was like we stopped talking for like 3 months.
Wow.
It felt like, when you have a childhood friendship, kind of felt like forever. Um,
All right.
yeah. You just
And,
thinking back, I felt so trash, man. Like, my God. And I think it's harder when the friendship breakup is, I don't know. For me, I think it would have been easier if it was not my fault. But being that you're in the wrong, like if you ever do someone dirty, and especially if you're like a person of integrity and you realize you're wrong and you can't really make up for that,
right.
like, dang, like I really felt bad, like especially because that was like really like my best friend.
Right. No, I agree with that. Like I think my first official friend breakup might have been in like 8th grade, 9th grade.
Really?
Um, yeah, and that was like a tough time because it was like a really close friend. Literally, if he was not at my house, I was at his house, and that was straight from 4th grade all the way up to 8th grade. Like we were,
Tight.
where's Marquise? Where's his friend at? Dude,
Right.
how y'all doing? And so I thought it was like interesting to have this conversation because I remember just being like, damn, this sucks. This is a trash feeling. I would turn on like very sad, bless you. I
Thank
would
you.
turn on just very sad songs and just like listen to them and just like, wow, I don't know if we're actually friends anymore. And I cried for a couple months because I was like, yo, when you're with this person, you're just like, this is my
Same.
person. Yeah. So
I was telling everybody and their mama, like, I don't think she's gonna be my friend no more. I just don't understand. And I knew it was like, oh, and I also had like enough. I had like at my age, because I'm 27. I just turned 27, and for those who don't know,
come on, happy
but
belated.
the coronavirus has been getting in the way of much, but I'm still enjoying and content with life. But yeah, I have a lot of friends where we just you kind of outgrow each other, not each other, but yeah, you outgrow each other, and you
No.
also outgrow the roles that you had at that one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
It's,
I think I think these are two different things too, right? So like when a breakup is messy and you're just like, yikes, like somebody was wronged in this situation. But then the other thing is like, how have you dealt with it like when you grow apart? Like for me, I was just like, and I think it's happening now. It happened the first time I experienced it was definitely like,
are you again, Marquise?
Huh?
How old are you?
What am I?
How old are you?
Oh, 24.
24. Okay.
Yeah. And I think the first time it really happened to me was when I went to college, and then there were just friendships dynamics that changed because those are friends who stayed home versus friends who went to college. So when me and college friends would come home, it was definitely like that dynamic of like, oh, we're going through this class, we're doing this, blah, 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 here are the stresses of college, that kind of jargon and that kind of language. Whereas the other people from home, it's like, no, I've been working on this, I've been doing this, I've been doing this. So it's like, there was like a disconnect. And I do my best to try and make sure like I still stay in touch and still stay relatable, because I'm just like, we grew up together. So that still means something. That still means something to me because I have the same friends for the last 15, 16 years. Right. But it is interesting if you don't actually like acknowledge the fact that you've changed. And I think that's where I think a lot of friends start to gravitate apart, is when they don't know how to properly like acknowledge like, hey, I experienced this thing and I have this new set of morals, I have this new set of standards. So if you are no longer moving in that space, let's see what this looks like. But then also like, how do we grow from that? Or how do I reintroduce myself to you? Because that's a different kind of feel of it, is kind of like what I think. Have you ever dealt with like growing apart? Huh?
Have you ever had a friendship you haven't wanted to like keep up?
Oh yeah, no. Honestly, like coming to Philly, it really just made me realize like there's some friendships that they can stay where they lasted, right? There are some where I used to fight for friends all the time. Like, no, I'm staying friends with you. We had too much time together, too many memories. But as I got older, I'm just like, it's not an equal pouring into. And that's what I'm starting to realize. The more I understand who I am and the things that I deserve and the things that I need for friends to do to show up for me, if that feeling is not being reciprocated, there's no reason for me to keep investing that energy, because I now know what a friendship looks like. So there are times where I'm just like, look, if it's a high buy situation, or if I see you at the club and we know we're still gonna hang out, we do that quick little reminisce, call it a day. Really nice to see you. Next time I see you out, we'll definitely have a good old time. Awesome. But it's not like I'm gonna be texting you and checking in with you and going out of my way to force a conversation. If I ever feel like I have to force a conversation, dead in that shit right away.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, for me, and I didn't get to watch the last episode, but a lot of people were saying how it was Molly that was really downing Issa.
Yeah.
You know, she's used to being the more successful friend, and I could really relate to that. Not that my friends are like in Molly, you know, Molly's perspective, where Molly would, you know, look down on Issa because she's less. But I think it's like being the shy one, or you know, more reserved. It wasn't until I got, and like you, wasn't until I got into college that I was more vocal about things that I've always felt like, you know, but I just didn't know how to. That wasn't the social norm, and or my friends were just more outgoing than me. So I remember even feeling like, and then this goes for sometimes it's family too, because I had a cousin that I was like super close with. I loved her so much. She was my big cousin, so I was like, I never could tell her like, you know, you can't, just like your parents, you know, or your mom, or you can't tell someone that's older than you like, no, this is not how it's gonna be anymore. And I think what we needed was time from each other. That way, you know, we can come back, and she had to recognize like, this is now the space that I'm in. I'm not going to say yes to everything. And that's like, I was a little kid, I was a yes girl. I was like, yes, sure, of course, let's do that. You know, that's I never stuck up for myself at all. But once I hit 18, like all that was a wrap. I was like, oh no, that's not how I can picture my future stuff.
Period. No, I agree with that. Because it really just makes you think sometimes, like, as you get older and you get into these, I feel like making friends as adults is so much more different than making friends as children. Like, normally, like, we're friends because we're in proximity with each other and like, oh, you're cool, let's go, cool. But I think as I got older, it's just like, do your principles match up with mine? What, like, is this worth investing into? Because I think as we get older, those relationships become a lot more meaningful. So you're just like, no, you are in here for a reason. If you are not going to be here for a reason, I don't have to pour into you, and we don't have to fake being besties and what this friendship looks like. You can be a happy acquaintance, and like, if I'm going out to clubs, that's what you're there for. But you won't be in that core group. I think that just comes with age and time.
Don't understand the difference, you know. That's like, you have friends for different things. So like the whole thing with you know, just understand like what your role is in some friendships. Like, I realized some of my friendships I was over watering. Like, that was just one of my things. Like, I didn't realize that I did that to certain friends. Who were like, they didn't need that much of me. So
yeah. No, I feel you. And I guess like the last part of this conversation, we can just keep it short and sweet, is really just your role as a friend. Like, what do you think your role is? Because I think that's something else that they touched on in Insecure is like, and you kind of touched on it too, is like, all right, well, Molly is definitely like your more quote unquote successful friend, like the one who seemingly has their shit together. And so the role she kind of played, and my perception of it, is that she was always like Issa's like fallback. She was always Issa's cushion. She was always like, oh no, Issa, you should do this. But now that Issa's finding her own voice and finding like what she values, she's just like, wait. So what happens when, like for her, I think she's no longer feeling as valued because of the fact that Issa does not need her in the same way, and she needs to figure out what that new dynamic looks like. So have you ever dealt with roles switching in a friendship and like dynamic shifting in a way?
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, I think it's like that. We talked about codependency a lot and like our attachment styles, and we also touch on like love languages. I think all these are important for you to really understand, because for a long time my love language wasn't being nurtured. Like, I didn't realize, you know, I told you, I feel like it might be messed up to say, but I like gifts. So, you know, me growing up, I was taught to be humble. So I was never taught to like treat myself, or, you know, to express like, hey, I want this. But I'm the type of person, like, if you want it, got you. You know what I mean? So I think it's just certain that you have to also like know. It's just like, know your partner, because and I said this before, you know, what your friendship is, there's no cookie cutter person, and you can't just, you know, think that, you know, you're going to meet someone at 12 and they're going to stay that way for the rest of their, like, for the, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want that. So for people like that, I just would say, like, go back to the drawing board. Like, you really have to assess everything in relationships, probably like every 3 months, not even every 3 months, but, you know, assess thoroughly, like, are they really happy? Because that's another thing. Like, did Issa check on Molly? Did Molly check on Issa? Were they really being close to each other?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good way to kind of start wrapping up this conversation, is like, for our listeners too, is just like, how are you also showing up for your friends? Are you aware? Is the energy being reciprocated? Is it not being reciprocated? Because I know for me, like, normally I'm the rock friend. Like, I'm there when people have like, all right, I'm going through this thing. Marquise, can we talk through this? Oh, Marquise, I need you for this. So normally I play the provider in friendships at times, and it all depends on like what the friendship is. Because like, Amanda's more of like the provider in our dynamic than I'm the provider, right? So it really depends on like what that looks like. But yeah, I think you made a good point about like your apology language and your love language. Like, for me, I like quality time. Like, in order for me to still fulfill in a friendship, depending on the friend, because there's some friends I don't have to talk to every single day, and once we figure that out, it's like we never lost touch at all. But there are some people where I'm just like, no, I genuinely enjoy quality time. Like, I just want to be in that presence of another person. I enjoy your presence, so let's continue to have that going. But I do think, like, for me, the first time where I was like not.
Are you adding Mack?
Yeah, he's already here. He just needs to turn on his video. But I do think the last part of this is really knowing, like, when I switched up and said no for the first time, and they were just like, oh, whoa, Marquise, you're not, you're different. Like, you mean you're not gonna you're not going to do this thing and
Like
you're not just going to say yes. Yeah.
basically.
So I definitely think like that's the different dynamic once you start doing things that either show your growth and people are just like, I don't know how to do this. So I do think that's part of a conversation too. So listeners, like if you got something out of this conversation, like really talk to that friend you haven't talked to in a while. If you have a friend group and you got dynamic switches, like acknowledge those dynamics that switch. And see if you can mitigate what that looks like too, because that's important. Like, let's actually talk about how I changed. Let's reintroduce ourselves to like who I am again. Like me 4 years ago is not me today. Me 8 years ago is not me today. So are you acknowledging that change? Are you acknowledging that growth? And are you comfortable with it? Because sometimes growing is not always pretty. Growing means people get left behind, and that's okay, right? Cool. Anything else you want to add, Bree?
Yeah.
All right. So,
building.
Speaking about reintroducing somebody, he's not a stranger to the podcast at all. He was one of our first guests.
Yes.
Right. So Reading's Finest. This is a section where we highlight somebody in our hometown who is doing some positive stuff, who is doing some cool shit. And I'm just hyped. Mack Simmy, you're in the house. How you living?
I'm good. I'm living.
Chilling. And real quick, just introduce yourself one more time because we got new followers, we got old followers. So just tell them who you are, what you do.
I'm Mack Simmy. I'm here in Reading, PA. I'm an artist. I just released an album called You Ate You Straight. Shout out to Business Over Everything, Stay 1000. We just working, man. You know, you can follow me at Mack Simmy. Follow me on every social media platform at Mack Simmy.
Nah, so it's good to have you back, my guy.
Right. I'm happy to be here, though, you know?
Listen, I am so happy you're here. Like, I was just telling Marquise, like, I don't even know what to ask him. My nerves are so like, I've been listening to like nonstop. And it's just like, for me, I don't know, like, this is, I told you, matter of fact, because I texted you, I think, and I said, this is your best album. And, you know, I've been fucking with you for a while now. Like, I met you through a mutual, like, way back. And
Right.
I love everything that you've come out with, like everything. The Summertime Simmy, the Humble Heims. You got some joints in there, like that's how like that's the throwback.
I really appreciate that.
Yes. Oh my God. So I'm sorry, Marquise, just jump right into it.
Oh, go for it.
How'd you come up with this?
She just jumped right in. It's not even.
How you sit down and come up with an album like You Ate You Straight? Wait, am I saying it right?
Yep, that's
okay.
it.
Okay.
Straight.
Okay, like what? I need to know because I need to go. How this happen?
I was just I've been cooking up, you know, just in a bunch of directions, I would say, and I really didn't know which direction I wanted to take, like as far as putting out my next body of work just a few months ago, but you know, once you just go through things in life and you feel like you at a good space where your spirit's feeling good.
I'm not gonna lie, I was like, if I needed someone to have a music to play my life, I was like, this got me feeling some type of way. You know, I need Kerry Washington to play me, and then I need Mack's music to be the soundtrack because listen. I've been bumping this for like a good 2-3 weeks since it came out, like nonstop, man. Sorry, Marquise, but
oh, you're good.
This brought me back. Like I was like, oh, he studies the grades. Like you're not like some bubblegum rapper. Like you really do this. And I was like, hold on, like what music does Mack listen to?
I hear you. I mean, my whole thing with this project was to rap. Like I just tell everybody, like it's just to rap. Like, and it's because I can rap, and I just feel like through the years, the different music I've been putting out, I feel like people get lost in the translation of the sound I was trying to create comparing to just being, you know, able to really rap. So as far as the music I've been listening to, I've been listening to Griselda. I don't know if y'all heard of it.
Yo, they are fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
Super fire. West Side Guns.
Come on. Talk about it.
For the most part, that's been like the main rap, I would say, like, you know, like people as far as rapping, but of course I've been listening to Lil Baby and everybody else.
I heard
exactly.
Things, and I was just like, hold on, wait, where are you from again? Because you were throwing out a couple places, and I was just like, where's he from again?
I'm from Norristown. Like, I lived there till I was 14, then I moved to Pottstown. And that's where I went to high school at, and that's where I started making music and, you know, really, you know, just getting into the whole, just becoming myself as a person. And I moved to, of course, and then I moved to Redding in like 2012, and then I moved back in like 2014, and I've just been here, you know what I mean? Like, just moving around from here. So, of course, I'm a rep all of, you know, it's the 610 to me, you know what I mean? It's not really, to me, it's bigger than just Redding or Norristown or Pottstown or even in between and stuff. But, you know,
you give love to other, like, you're not one of these selfish ass rappers. I hate to say, like, there's a lot of rappers that I love, but they just don't get down like you. And I just love that you show love to my city, you know, because we don't really get that much shout outs as much as we should be, especially for as many people that come here and come through here. But that's a story for another day. That Marquise,
right.
Because I want to.
Nah, that's a fact. I just quick no. I love this project. I think that opening, like, I'm big on like album openers, so I like that was a very strong, like, you set the tone with your very opening track. First and foremost, I'm already like a fan
Marquise
of.
was talking about production. I'm not that familiar with it, but he was talking about production and engineers, and I noticed that you used a lot of Redding engineers, productioners.
Yeah. Producers, yep.
Yes. What's up with that? Like, you didn't just use one person. How do you get an album to sound so nice, like all the way through, when there's just like kind of different hands in the pot? You know what I mean?
Right. Because like I keep a beat pile. Like, I keep a beat pile with like 100+ beats, and when the vibes come to me, as I said, like, I create in a certain what do you call it? Like, miscellaneous, like it's just a bunch of miscellaneous work that I'm doing. So then when it's time to really just sit down and work with like, say, like 4 core songs, it is not hard to choose another 4, you know what I'm saying? So me working with these different producers, I got different vibes with each and every last one of them, but I also built relationships with each last one of them, you know what I mean? And not just, you know, hey, yo, let me get a beat relationship. I'm talking about like years and years of just building with them, you know what I mean? So I feel like, right.
So sorry, not to interrupt you, but I'm just curious then, like, what was your favorite song?
My favorite song is, because since it came out, it changed, you know what I said? But prior to releasing it, I would say that my favorite song was it had to be Hanukkah. Like, that was my favorite song. You know
yes, so Hanukkah. Oh my God! Listen, I was like, oh, I was in the shower and I was like, let me get out I got out the shower and had to play it back. I was just like, whoa. That was what I was feeling like. Listen, he's been listening. He's been like, this is just too much. And it's like, you have actual bars, and that's what makes it. It's just like you can have a punchline, but then you have actual bars, which makes me wonder, how long have you been like this creative? Like, were you naturally just gifted with a pen, or is that something you learned in school? Like, did you have help? Did you have a big brother?
I just feel like, honestly, like, I was just naturally gifted with it. Like, once I put my mind to it, you know, that's what it was. Like, I can't even put it any other way. And I always had a passion to be like different, you know? So when I write, I don't even think how the next man's going to think. I actually premeditate what somebody would say. And certain, you know, when I hear a beat, and I'm like, this is what somebody would say.
Right.
But I might do that flow, but I'm going to say something completely different because it's going to make way more sense. You know what I mean? So, and it's me. Like, it's not, it's authentic. You know what I mean? It's not anything else besides me. So.
because I think that's what I have to say, like, I appreciated about, like, one, just, like, you overall as an artist. Like, I think sometimes from the 610, we tend to see, like, a very similar sound sometimes. But you find a way to still, you carry a different kind of swag, a different kind of braggadocious attitude about you, which I think is, like, real dope. Because I think what I like about this is, like, Humble Hymns was already a project that I was already, like, into a lot. But I think this one, what I think is cool about it, and I do want to ask you about, like, your writing process for this one in particular, because it sounds, one, a lot more mature, but it also, I don't know, this one kind of feels darker, but in a very authentic kind of way. Like, I felt like it was a little bit more personal with how you were coming with it. So I definitely do just kind of want to ask, like, what do you feel makes this project a lot different? Because I'm also, like, curious about, like, even, like, the album art and the album title and shit like that too. Like, because it's dope, because it made me think about, like, Goal Line, and you say I used to wake up with no heat, like that kind of stuff. And then looking at where you have it in the kitchen and shit, I was like, all right, so what are you really trying to convey with this project as a whole, and what are you hoping for people to take out of it?
Right. So the main thing, like, as far as just what's different about it than previous projects, is I feel like I didn't hold back, like, in my writing process with none of the records. So when it was time to put everything together as well, these are all records I feel like I'm not holding back on. And what I mean by holding back, what is I'm trying to it's just the struggle that I've been through, the pain, but also just the good times, you know what I'm saying? And all the different, just the different builds in my life, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like I was saying with the producers.
Can relate.
Right. And that's the main thing. So I feel like everybody goes through something, you know what I mean? And with this one, it's just like, if I'm able to just put my pain or just passion out there, what I said it on Phase I Love. I said my love for my passion, I hope it's contagious. Living life on edge, but I don't find it dangerous. Like, that's real life, like me going through stuff in life and just being able to just put it right in the music when it's time to write, when it's time to put it all together. And to me, that's the main thing. It's just being relatable, you know, because I feel like that's what I want my music to be. And then the whole thing with, like, just you straight, it's like, first it's 8 songs, you know, and when you go through, like, different, like just a bunch of different stages and phases in life, like, you get to a point where it's like, if I hit you up and I text you, I'm like, yo, you ate, you straight? Like, besides, like, yo, or how you doing? Blah, 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 blah.
Because it was like, I felt like you was checking in with us. Like, that's what it felt like. It felt like a good old check-in.
Exactly. So, but it's different than asking somebody if they ate than if you're just saying, like, how you doing? Because they might not tell you how they doing, but if they hungry, they gonna tell you what they want. Like, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's also like, I'm hungry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I wanted to put out more of a rap project this time. And I feel like I'm hungry, but at the same time, like, I feel like I have ate when it came to just certain situations and just certain things I wanted to do in my career, you know, thus far. But I just, you know, that's just the main thing, man. Just putting it all together and making it all make sense and just for everybody to relate to it, you know?
Nah, I agree, because it was definitely like, you got your cover to cover kind of thing too. Like, each of the chapters were really dope. Like, you went through, like, here's the introspection stuff, but then here's something, like, I still, like, nod my head to and still want to move to at the same time. Like, what is it? On the Line and Hanukkah. Okay. Them Jones, I'd be like, all right, I'm moving. Like, it's a different kind of energy that you bring to it, which I thought was, like, real dope, because you play with the sound, you play with the auto-tune, you play with with your voice a lot more, which I thought was really dope, in how you were starting to navigate that. And I think that's what I appreciated about the project, because it seems so much more versatile, but people can no longer deny, like, that rap ability that you have.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's definitely, like, the fan of me coming out real quick.
No, but that's exactly what I was going for, though. Anybody, I feel like, even if you just supported what I did, if you actually took a listen, that's what I was going for. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted you to understand, like, I've been trying to polish this for years, 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you know, if we want to break it all the way down, and it's like, you know, I've been cooking for a long time, so it's like, if you ate, like, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I'm gonna get you straight, man. Like, you know what I mean? With this music, and that's just the feeling that I wanted, man. And I'm happy to hear that y'all, you know, that y'all actually listen and y'all can see the picture I was painting. You know what I mean? Like, Right.
What? Of course you're gonna listen. Like, you are one of the. What I say about you is like, no stops. You're one of the most consistent rappers that I've heard ever, and I'm just curious as to how, or like, how do you stay so consistent? Like, you know what I mean? You have a particular lane, and you give us good projects with growth without doing too much. Like, is there a team? Is there someone that you go to? Like, how do you
Yeah,
like?
like I feel like it's a few things. The first thing is like I'm so deep into this, like so deep into it. There's no reason to stopping or turning back. And this project is also like when I dropped Humble Hymns, I was on the fence then if I wanted to keep doing this. This project is solidifying that I'm going to keep doing this. Like, you know what I mean? And another thing is, you know, the people I have around me. Like, I've had the same people around me for 10 plus years, and we all been dreaming of this, of trying to make it and trying to put on for our town and do for the city, and, you know, the 610 as a whole, like what we could do, because as you know, like it's just different here. Like, we don't have even the same opportunities, but when they come, we all go for them. You know what I mean? So what's going to make us stand out different than the rest, or what's going to make us you know, more relatable, or just as relatable, you know, as somebody that you might listen to that's in the industry or whatever, because I feel like that's all I got. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just as real as that. Like, there was no plan B. There was no plan, you know, C or nothing. It was just rapping, you know, and living life, becoming like a man and maturing. It's like you realize just a lot of things, and you put all of that in the pot, man. It's like, why not give it to them and not hold back? You know what I mean?
Give them something to eat, for real, for real.
Right.
But we talked about it earlier in the episode, talking about like friendship dynamics and breakup with friends and all this kind of stuff, and like what that growth looks like. So I think more for you, how I want to kind of tailor this question is, you've been rocking with the same people for the last 10 years, like you, Cool, all of them, right? So how has that kind of helped you grow a lot more? And how's that kind of informed your music too? So like, are one of them like you have your
first
go-to
and
person?
foremost, to even be, you know, even tolerate people for that long.
Yeah.
It's like it gotta be a real relationship. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I got people, and Cool, you know, I ain't known him for 10 years, but I feel like I have. You know what I mean?
Right.
So because he just fits in with the mold of me and my guys, but you know, I just feel like it's just a certain realness to it. So people are honest with me. People, you know, give me the criticism I need at times, or, you know, they also big me up, when, of course, like with nothing, you know, no holding back, because there's no hate and there's no one man above a crew type of situation. But, you know, we still establish great relationships along the way too. And I feel like if, you know, you fit the mold, like, you know what I mean? You always going, you know, like, I'm going to stay 1,000. You're going to stay 1,000. It's just going to keep going and going, man. Like, and yeah, that's just I don't know. Of course, I've had bad relationships too, though. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we all have. So it's like, you know, there's people that didn't make it this far. There's people that, you know what I mean, looking at me, I ain't make it that far in their life or whatever. But, you know, I feel like that also makes you who you are too, and it just makes you sharper. You know what I mean? So you could just, because you learn your flaws along the way and your insecurities, and you just fix it from there. Like, and I feel like all of that, just with all of that being said, I put all of that into the music, and I feel like this project represents just me getting past all of that and just, you know, being grateful for what I have, and, you know, even getting on your podcast. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just grateful for the resources I could reach out to, or, you know, just to push myself. Even if it's, you know, if we make an impression of 200 people or 2,000, you know what I mean? It's like, we still going to wake up and we still going to do this. Like, you feel me?
No, that's a fact. No, because you talk on a lot of stuff, and that's what I appreciate, because it's one, y'all are still very community oriented too. So I do also just want to talk about you coming into the Reading scene and stuff. 'Cause I don't think we talked about this the first time we interviewed you, but coming into that Reading scene, but also developing relationships outside of music, and like, what does that ecosystem look like? Do you see Reading still like? Do you see the Reading creators banding together the way that they should be? Do you think there's always room for improvement? So what are some improvements you would like to see? So just wherever you want to go.
I feel you. So I definitely feel like, you know, it's love, but I feel like, you know, just saying there's few people that's ahead of the bunch in different ways. You know what I mean? Like, just in general, like, you know, Beans being on Netflix, or, you know, Echo and Nova, like, that's just an example. So it's like, you know, there's people like myself, you know, I'm in the middle grinding, but then there's people that's also trying to establish themselves. And I feel like, you know, for the most part, I feel like people do respect and support one another, you know what I mean? As long as there's some type of respect there. But the vision that I had when I came here was to bring it all together, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why I opened up the studio, and there was a lot of togetherness, but that also brought a lot of different things as well. So I just feel like if everybody just keeps pushing and focusing on what they're doing, eventually it'll all link up, you know what I mean? If you keep working on your sound and your work, we all it's gonna link up, whether if we in the city or if we on TV or at the top, you know what I mean? But there's a bunch of different lanes, as we know. Like, there's a bunch of different lanes. So that's the main reason why I say that. And, of course, I would like to work more with, you know, several people. But, you know, when you're focusing on yourself, sometimes it's not that easy because, you know, you still got to live life, too. You still got to go through it every day, you know, Monday through Friday. So, man, but I listen, man, there's a lot of dope artists in Reading, like a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or when I should say, like, get on, like, I'm coming back to the city. I'm trying to grab people from the 610, like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's just so many dope artists and marketable things that people got going on. So I just feel like, man, everybody just got to keep pushing. You know what I mean?
That's a
fact. That low. What was that?
Who would you like to work with?
I would, man. I'm about to do some music with Chill. I definitely been wanting to work with him. You know, I want to keep working with Cash. I want to work with Bees. Like I said, Echo, just naming all of them. But a couple of other dudes I've just seen working is like Spec. Like I like what all of them got going on over there. You know what I mean? I've been talking about possibly working with them.
A couple of the rappers that you named, but I'm gonna look them up now.
Right. They you know, they all be on the timeline on Twitter and stuff. You know, people, you know, y'all promote heavy on there. Like, you know, it's probably that's where I come across people's work. But you know, there's plenty more people though, and it's not even just in Reddit. There's plenty of people like people I haven't even named, like Murder J. I don't know if y'all heard of him. I like his music. Like, just, you know, it's just a bunch of people, and I feel like if I had the time and the space, or just like, you know, others, we would all probably work more. But you know, we got to kind of keep establishing the scene in the city, you know?
Yeah, and go ahead, Bray.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to talk about, like, establishing that scene as well, because it's like, I was called, like, the resurgence back in 2018 when we all started, like, actively, like, oh, all right, that's Mac. Oh, that's Bree. Oh, that's D. Oh, that's Brad. Like, and actually seeing, like, all these worlds collide at some point, because that's one thing I'm always, like, fascinated by is, like, Reading, PA, and, like, the creatives in there, like, from all aspects, from podcasting to artists to musicians to rappers to singers, like, starting to come out the woodwork, and really looking at it from there. So kind of talk about what you hope to really establish in the 610 in general for your case, because I do think that's a valuable part that I think more creators, especially ones that are coming up, need to see, because it's like being in Philly, that's a whole nother piece of creatives now. Where I'm
that's
just
how
like,
I've always looked at it.
Yeah,
and I think like what I want to accomplish is just like I feel like once I get there, I want oh, my fault. Hello? Yeah, I had got a phone call. But once I get there, I just feel like I want my sound to be so distinguished that when you think of me and think of where I come from, it's gonna make you want to go back and see what else is there. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel as though like that's ultimately like what I'm going for. It's just like I want to be just kind of like just that sound. Like when you hear it, it's like, yo, like this is 610. I'm not saying I want people to start sounding like me and stuff like that, but just representing a certain sound, a certain raspy, a certain ruggedness, but it's also representing where I'm from, because this is what I'm spitting real stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So what I'm talking about is everything that we can relate to, you know? So I feel like that's ultimately what it is. And, you know, just, I mean, on top of that, just success, just being able to create just different streams of income for artists to be able to eat, or just collectively just move together and you know, band up, man, because that's what I've always been about from the beginning, you know. So.
Nah, that's a fact. But overall, like, I know my camera just froze, so whatever, we're out here. But I do appreciate you being able to take the time out here on a good old Sunday
Right.
to join us for this conversation. So just other than that, like we're gonna move into like the Dear Reading segment at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, and, you know, that's the section where it's like the open love letter to the city, all that fun stuff, anything we talked about during this episode. So you'll be going last. We always let the guests have the last word on this.
Okay.
And then after, we'll do some church announcements to see if you have anything else coming up that we should be aware of. So yeah, Bree, you want to start?
Dear Reading, love thy neighbor. Marquise hates that because I say it every episode, but I'm gonna tell you, literally, like it is relevant. It's been 61 episodes, and every episode is relevant. So Marquise, stay mad.
All right, rude. Dear Reading, it is okay to change friends. They come and go with seasons, but keep rooted where you're at. I think that's always like important. Remember your roots and know the people. Being aware of your roots will allow you to still come back to those that are meant to be there at the end of the day.
Fact. And is it on me?
Yeah.
Dear Reddit, if you haven't ate and you ain't straight, then go listen to You Ain't You Straight.
It's a fact. Once again, let them know where they can find you.
Dear Reddit,
they can listen.
I just released a great body of work, and you know, I'm representing y'all and everywhere around here. So just get some vibes and then, you know, just follow along. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. All right, before we go, you got any church announcements? Bree, Matt?
Yeah, well, I mean, just in general, we're going to keep pushing the project and business over everything. We also working on a group project, and
social media.
That's probably the next piece of work that we're going to put out. And we're just going to keep trying to just push out as much content as we are. So follow me at Mack Simmy. And shout out to DearRDG. I'm glad y'all still going strong. You know what I mean? So, you know, never stop.
Marquise, have any announcements? You know, you ate, you straight, play that. Listen, I'm telling you, no, I'm very particular with my taste of music. And when I tell you, like, this has been in rotation because this is what you need to listen to get your mind right. This will get your skin clear. Like this will have you for real. If you haven't gotten your life together, go listen to this album, right? And you're gonna be like, damn, you're gonna be hungry, then you're gonna be full, then you're gonna follow back. I'm telling you, like, listen, they're gonna want to follow you and go back and listen to your old shit, which was just as I tell you, bon appetit.
That's a fact. I like all the food references. I see what you did there. Yeah, real quick for me, just as a quick recap, some of the ones that I listen to a lot is Every 16, 24 Hours, Phase I Love. But this Tuesday at 6:30, I will be having an Instagram Live where it'll be American Negroes, the Table Talk, whatever you want to call it. But I'll be talking about how coronavirus has impacted urban education and Black and Brown communities and seeing how we have to kind of redesign what learning looks like for that. So please tune in. On Tuesday at 6:30, I'll be with Fade Sola Ojekere, who is a New York educator up in the Bronx. So I'm excited for that. But other than that, appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here. Make sure you stream Simmy's album. It's a strong, Joe.
Definitely. I appreciate y'all having me. I appreciate y'all kind words, man. Seriously.
Appreciate you, man.
For real.
I'll make sure to link everything in the show notes below, and then we'll be good to go from there.
Marquise,
that's perfect.
All right, guys. I'm out.
All right,
Bro.
Be easy, yo.
All right, Keith. Be easy, man.